I'm saying? Yeah, that's why John Favreau and Nick Filoni are going to agree to my. I'm going to do this. I'm going to tell VJ for Amazon, let's do 61.39 for the deal. That's my final offer. My final offer is 61. Don't hate me, Amazon. Amazon won't mind. It's all right. It's only 1%. Yeah, it's only 1%. My deal is, realistically speaking, I should be what? The deal should be like 70-30, man, for me reaching Amazon. But I'm generous. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do Amazon like that. They have bills to pay, obviously. My deal is 61.39 for the deal. 61.39. That way I can pay what? I can give Peter Jackson a piece of the profits. The 1% is too much for Peter Jackson. I'll give him like 0. Like I'll give him like 0.6%, Peter Jackson, of the pie. That's a good pitch. That's like nine. That's like what? That's like $100 million. 0.6% is about 100 million. 95, 100 million. You can give Peter Jackson 0.6% of the pie. That's a good paycheck for him. And I'll give John Favreau 0.2% of the pie if I agree to 61.39, which I should. I'll be able to. Amazon will agree to the deal. Okay, my final offer, guys, is 61.39. That way I can take 1% of my money and I can pay. I'll tell VJ, the amount of money me and you are making is embarrassment riches. We're gonna make, I don't know, $4.55 billion off the movies and posters. You know what I'm saying? I think what? We should take 1% of that money and divide it with the 7 team and the directors and the actors. To keep the actors and to keep everyone happy, man. Because trust me, I know if I pay John Favreau his $34 million sign bonus, which is a rich salary, obviously, and I pay him his what? His what? His yearly salary. And me and VJ make that money off the movie. He might be a bit angry because what? Because me and VJ what? We made like $4.5 billion off Zanus and in the movies. Yeah, we make way more money than one of us. It's okay. Keep him happy, VJ. We can give John Favreau my deal. John Favreau, I'll pay you a $34 million signing bonus for the movie. Obviously, you get your rich yearly salary, your 6.8 million and 3.5 million yearly salary. You get your two $50,000 bonus after it's completed. You get your $2,000 gift card, and I'll give you 0.2% of the profits of the movie. Considering you're my co-executive producer, the boss of my company, I'll give you. I know you're not worth my royalties, but I'm generous enough to give you a piece of my royalties if I make 61%. If I don't make 61%, they're not getting a dime, zero. If me and VJ make 60%, they're not getting a dime, zero. I'm not giving them a piece of the profits. But if I can negotiate with Amazon 61.39, which I should, I'm not going to do 65.35 because Amazon will not accept that deal. They'll be like, Ivan, you're being fucking greedy, man. We have bills. But yeah, Amazon has huge costs. Hence why I'm not going to do 65.35. I'm not going to do them like that. I promise 60.40. I'm not going to do Amazon like that. But I'm going to slightly make some minor changes. My deal is 61.39 Amazon. That's my deal. We take 61, you take 39. That's still, you're only losing a good, like, I don't know, $200 million. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, 61.39 is a good deal. As realistically speaking, it should be 65.35, 70.30, man. I'll give Amazon, my deal for Amazon is 61.39. Obviously, I'm smart. 61.39. That way, I can give guys like John Favreau and Dave Filoni a piece of the profits. Even though they're not worth it, I'm generous enough to give them a piece of profits. That way, you keep them happy and they're not angry. Because the amount of money me and VJ are making is like we're taking 60% of the pie, guys, for the box office and the movie. Hence, to keep these actors and directors happy. And if you want to compete with Hollywood, because in Hollywood, even though my company beats out Hollywood in salaries, Hollywood pays the actors and gives them a piece of the profits. You see what I'm saying? They give them a piece of the profits, obviously. If you want to compete with Hollywood, okay, fine. I can do a deal 61.39. That way, I can give the actors a piece of the profits, and I can give my 7 team, all members of my 7 team, I'll give them a piece of the pie, obviously, to keep them happy, obviously. Considering the amount of money me and VJ are making is much more than how much they made, obviously. I'll give them a piece of the pie, obviously. And what? And I can give Peter Jackson like nice 0.6%, which is like, I don't know, about $100 million. 0.6% is like, I don't know, like 90 million. 100 million, about $100 million with 0.6% of the pie. Peter Jackson will make his 100 million, 110, 20 million bucks around there he'll make. And he'll make his $107 million salary to keep him happy, obviously. So he makes a nice like $200 million off the movie, Peter Jackson. And you can give John Favreau 0.2%. He'll make his nice, I don't know, $35 million, John Favreau, in royalties. You give Dave Filoni 0.1% of the pie, and he makes like a nice 20 million bucks for himself. Around there. 18 million around there he makes. Obviously. So Peter takes 0.6, and then I'll give Jon Favreau 0.2%. And I'll give Dave Filoni 0.1. I'll give Guillermo del Toro like 0.01%. He makes an extra like couple million bucks for himself. It's a good paycheck for him. Okay, Guillermo del Toro, you get your $400,000 signing bonus. You get your $1 million salary. You get your $250,000 bonus after movie's complete, and you'll make a couple million bucks for yourself from the what? From the box from the what? From the what? From the royalties. And I'll give my secretaries and the other three 0.01%. I'm not going to give them the kind of money I'm giving Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. No, they're not worth that. But I'll give them a nice like 0.01% of the pie, and which hence they're going to pocket like a couple million. I don't know, a nice like 4, 5, 6 million for themselves, which is nice. That's a nice paycheck. That way what? That way they have a good retirement too. Because the other five are not going to have the kind of retirement Jon Favreau and them are going to have. You see what I'm saying? Or hence why what? You need to what? Give them a nice like 0.01% of the okay. I'll give you 0.01% of the profits. You're gonna pocket a couple million for yourself. A nice 3, 4, 5 million for yourself, which is nice. So you get your nice $500,000 signing bonus. Your rich $2 million your salary, and you get a couple million bucks for after each movie project. For the what? For the royalties. Only if I agree to 61-39, I'm going to do this. If it's 60-40, no one's getting a dime of me VJ's money, zero, obviously. But if I will be able to negotiate 61 because I'll put Amazon on the pick. Okay, guys, my final offer is 61-39. That's my final offer. I'm not going to do 60-40, guys. I want to take 61%. That way I can pay the actors, I can give the actors and directors a nice piece of the profits, obviously. And then you guys get your what? You guys get your 639%, which is a good deal. It's only a 1% loss. All right, it's a deal. Yeah, it's a deal. And I agree to the deal, and I can pay Peter like 0.6%. I can give him 0.6% of the pie, Peter Jackson, which is like $100 million, $120 million around there. And I'll give Mel Gibson 0.4%, 0.5% of the pie if he's hired. And I'll give Jon Favreau. Okay, my deal for Jon Favreau. How does 0.2% sound for all my movies? I'll give you 0.2% of all the profits for all my movies. For the profits, obviously. So Jon Favreau will take home on average, I don't know, 35, 38, $39 million around there for the royalties. And he's making a lot of money for my movie. He's making, I don't know, like around $70 million for all my movies, Jon Favreau. He's making a lot of money. Dave Filoni's making a lot of money too. He's making like his $38 million. I'm saying Michael Bay, if Michael Bay's hired, I'd give him like 0.4% of the profits for my movies. Christopher Nolan, I'd give him 0.3. J.J. Abrams, I'd give him 0.3. And Rian Johnson, I give him 0.1 of the profits. The Russo brothers, 0.1. Ryan Coogler, I give him 0.1%, which is like an extra $22 million. 0.1% is about $20 million around there. $22 million for my movie. I don't know. I'm just estimating here. It could be 0.1% can even be $30 million for my movie. My point is, these guys are going to make a lot of money off my fucking movie, man. But I told you, even if I give the actors a piece of the profits, it's still pocket change compared to how much me and VJ are making. So me and VJ are taking home the whole 60% of the pie. We're taking home like $4.5 billion, and the actors are taking home like 0. You know what I'm saying? So I'll restructure my deal. So for Keanu Reeves, what I'll do for him is, for my movie, I'll pay him his $27 million salary, Keanu Reeves, because I should be able to agree to that 61% of the pie. That way I can pay the actors their royalty checks, obviously. So even though they're not worth my royalties, obviously, I am generous enough to give them a piece of royalties to keep them happy, considering you and VJ are taking home 60% of the pie. You see what I'm saying? So even though I'm greedy, I'm taking home 60% of the pie. Don't hate me, actors. I'm nice enough to give them a piece of the pie. I can give Keanu Reeves 0.5% because he's big. So you pay him his $27 million signing bonus, obviously, and you pay him his what? You pay him his $20.9 million signing bonus. You pay him his $10 million bonus after filming complete, and you give him like 0.5% of the royalties, which is a good like $80 million bucks. So Keanu Reeves is making like $100 something million for my movie. 0.5% is about 80 million, $90 million for my movie around there. So you give him a piece of the pie. But how it's gonna work for the payments? I will not pay the actors until the buzz dies down. That's how it works. Because you don't. Whenever me and VJ get our first check, obviously, whenever me and VJ get our first check, obviously, we can't take 1% of that. No, because we're gonna receive more checks. Unless me and VJ receive one check and that's it. Chances are we're gonna receive at least like 2 checks around there. Okay, guys, I'm not gonna pay you your royalty check once me and VJ received our full money. And once we receive our full money, we calculate what 0.5% of what we made, obviously, and that money goes to Keanu Reeves, obviously. You know what I'm saying? We calculate, you know what I'm saying? So I'll give Keanu Reeves 0.5% of the profits, obviously, with his salary and bonuses. It's a good deal for him. And I'll give Scarlett Johansson 0. She's not as big as him. Give Scarlett Johansson 0.2. 0.3. You can give her 0.3. 0.3 is a nice paycheck. That's like what, like $50 million bucks. It's a nice paycheck for Scarlett Johansson. You can give Ben Affleck 0.32 of the profits if you want to keep them happy, obviously. Even though it's nothing about them, which is like an extra $50 million bucks around there. $50 million bucks in royalties. So you not only make your your 46, $47 million, you also make your what? $50 million in royalties and like what? $50 million in royalties and like $80 million in royalties. And I'll give Jon Favreau his 0.2. Obviously, Dave Filoni his 0.1. That's about 0.9%, obviously. And I'll give what? I'll give the director for what? I'll give them all my directors a piece of the pie. I'll give them the one for John Wick or I'll give him like 0.01% of the profits. Pay him a couple million bucks worth of royalties to keep him happy, obviously. And pay the assistant director 0.01% too of the profits to keep him happy. I can pay the director 0.02 for the Great Escape. I can pay the assistant director 0.01. I'll give Guillermo del Toro 0.01% of the profits. That way he can make an extra $4 million bucks for himself, which is a nice paycheck for him. Keep him happy. And I'll pay my 5 as usual. My 5, I'll pay 0. They'll get 0.01% of the 5. The secondaries are not worth any more than 0.01. I'm not. If you want like 0.03, I'm like, you're ripping me off. I'm not paying you that, man. I'm already paying you your rich $1 million yearly salary. Your bonuses, obviously, and I'm giving you 0.01% of the pie. That's a nice like $4, $5, $6 million bucks for yourself, extra for yourself. It's a nice paycheck for the secretaries and the other 3. The other 3, you can give them 0.02 if you want. You can give them a bit more if you want. They'll pocket a good $10 million for themselves. And the secretaries, you give them 0.01, and they make like $4 million for themselves. And the other guys make like $10 million bucks extra for themselves. It's a nice paycheck for them. The way you keep them happy, even though it's pocket change compared to how it's me and VJ are making. Give them a piece of the profits. That way you keep your team happy, obviously. But the only way I'm gonna do a deal like this is if me and VJ can get that 61%, which I will. I'll put Amazon a pickle. Hey, look, man. My final offer is $61.39. That's my final offer. Put Amazon a pickle and they'll accept the deal. It's a deal, yeah. That way I can pay the Hollywood actors their royalty checks. You see what I'm saying? They're nice royalties. And the moment I pay them the royalty checks, I am now easily competing with Hollywood much more than I'm blowing Hollywood out of the water. But the only actors who get a piece of the profits are the bigger ones. The smaller ones do not get a piece of the profits. You see what I'm saying? They do not get a piece of the profits, the smaller ones. I could give the small A-list actors a piece of the profits, but the small A-list actors, I give them like 0.01% or something like that. You can do some of that for the small A-list actors if you want. They take home they pocket a couple million for themselves. A nice $6 million for themselves. You can do that for the small acers if you want. I have enough room, obviously. But no, the small ace actors are not worth a piece of your royalties. The B-list actors and rising stars do not get a piece of the profits, obviously. They're not worth it. Only the bigger ones get a piece of the profits. They're big actors. You see what I'm saying? Only the big ones get a piece of the profits. I told you, realistically speaking, the actors shouldn't even get a piece of my royalties. Because I'm generous enough and I'm generous, I'm willing to give them a piece of the profits if I take home like 61+%, which I will. I'll negotiate the deal. Okay, the deal for Amazon is 61.39. I take 61, you take 39% of the pie. That way I can afford to pay all these actors, give these actors a piece of the royalties. But I'm not going any higher than 1%. The 1% is divided with everyone. That's how it works. I'm not going to go any higher than 1%. Hence, I'm going to make sure I don't go higher than 1% for the deal. Hence, why I'll easily be able to grab Jon Favreau from Hollywood. Okay, John, this is my deal. I'll pay you a $34 million signing bonus. Obviously. If I take home 61%, if I don't take home 60%, he's not getting a dime off my royalties. He's zero. Obviously, he's not getting a dime. Obviously, if he wants a piece of my royalties, he's not getting a dime, zero if it's 60%. But if I take home 61%, I can easily give Jon Favreau 0.2% of the royalties for all my movies to keep him happy, which is a good, $40 million in royalties. Hence, Jon Favreau's making on average, $70-some million for all my movies, man. He's walking away with a nice $40 million check in the bank for all my movies. After taxes, he's going to be loaded, man. And because he's the boss of your company, you need to pay him a lot of money, obviously. Pay him a lot of money, way more than how much these executives making in Hollywood. If I give Jon Favreau 0.2% of the pie, he's making way more money than even these executives in Hollywood, man. Because he's pocketing like $40 million from the royalties alone. Dave Filoni's making like $20 million. They're making a lot of money, you see what I'm saying? That way you keep them happy and they're not angry at you, see what I'm saying? Considering you and Vijay are going to make, 60% of the pie, you can take 1% of your money and divide it with the 7 team and the actors and directors. So my deal for Peter Jackson is I'll pay him his $85 million, which is $107 million in what? In New Zealand money, obviously, and I'll pay him I'll give him 0.6% of the pie, Peter Jackson, obviously, which is a good what? I don't know. My guess is about $100 million, 0.6%, 110 million bucks for Peter Jackson, 120 million around there is 0.6% for Peter Jackson around there. There's 100 million around there for Peter Jackson around there. Give him 0.6%, which is a nice deal for him. And so I'll pay Peter. I'll pay your 10 mil bonus, your 65 million salary start production, your 10 mil bonus after film is completed. You get your $2,000 gift card, your $300 gas card, and I'll give you 0.6% of the 1%. That's divided for all you guys. Yeah, Ivan, it's a deal. You know what I'm saying? Ivan, it's a deal, Ivan. Ivan, you're giving me 0.6%. That's a lot of money, Ivan. Yeah, it's like $100 million plus, Peter, in your bank. You get your $100 million salary, which is nice, and you also get your 0.6% of the profits, which is like $120 million, 30, I don't know, 100. I don't know how much it is, but it's probably about $100 million for Peter Jackson. Ivan, it's a deal. If you want Peter to work harder for you, pay him more money. You give Peter 0.6% of the profits, who will work even harder for you. I can't give him 1% because I need to pay what Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, their money too, obviously, and Guillermo del Toro. Members of my 7 team, they all need a piece of that pie. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? I could give the small AS actors a piece of the pie. I can give them like 0.1% or something like that, which is like an extra $5 million. I can do that for them if you want. The small AS actors, I could give them a piece of the pie, but they get like 0.01%, which is like $5 million, $6-7 million or something like that in their bank. I can do that. I can give Idris Elba, Don Cheadle, Djimon Hounsou. You know what I'm saying? I can give them like 0.01%. That way they make an extra $6-7 million for themselves, which is a good deal for them. You can do that for them if you want. Whereas John Boyega and all of them don't get anything because they're not A-list actors. A-list actors, the rising stars of these actors are not worth that kind of money. I told you, if I do that, guys like Yvonne Jordan and Danielle Manette and all them might be angry. Hey, you're giving what? Idris Elba 0.01%. He's making like an extra like $7 million for himself. They might be pissed off about that. You see what I'm saying, huh? They might be pissed off. So I'll pay Peter his 0.6% and his $107 million salary, obviously, and I'll pay Jon Favreau his $34 million signing bonus. Which is $20 million in your bank after taxes, obviously, and you pay him his rich yearly salary, 6.8 and 3.5 million yearly salary, $250,000 bonus, and you give him 0.2% of the pie from the 1%. So I give Peter 0.6, Jon Favreau 0.2, that's 0.8%. And I give Jay Filoni his 0.1%, which is like 18 million bucks, 20 million bucks in his bank. So I'll pay Dave Filoni his 15 million signing bonus, and I'll give him his what? His I'll give him his what? His 15 million signing bonus, and I'll give him his what? He gets his 2 million yearly salary, 2.1 million yearly salary, and I'll give him 0.1% of the pie. Considering they're your co-executive producers and they're the co-CEOs of my company, pay them a lot of money. That way what? They're happy men. So Jon Favreau will make his what? I don't know. He'll make his like $75 million for 75 million bucks around there. Because 0.2% is like 35-40 million bucks in royalties, man, for Jon Favreau. And 0.1% is like 20 million bucks. So Jon Favreau's making on average what? He's making what, man? He's making what? Like $75 million, $78 million for all my movies. 70 million around there on average for all my movies he's making. He's making a lot of money. He's making more money than even the CEOs in Hollywood, man. He's making a lot of money. If you want to keep Jon Favreau happy, give him a nice 0.2% of the pie, obviously. Considering me and VJ are going to take home 60% of the pie, we're going to make like $4.5 billion off the movie. Give Jon Favreau a nice 0.2%. Considering he's the boss of your company, give him a nice 0.2% of the pie. And I'll give Dave Filoni a nice 0.1%. Okay, you guys are the boss of my company. I'll give you a nice 0.2%, John, for all my movies. And I'll give Dave Filoni 0.1% to keep him happy. And I'll give Peter Jackson 0.6%, which is like $20 million in royalties around there. Hey, Peter, you're gonna make your nice, $200 million off the move for the movie. It's a good deal for Peter Jackson. You get your $100 million salary, and you get your 0.6% of the profits. Obviously, I can do that for Peter Jackson. Obviously, that's 0.9%, and I'll give Guillermo del Toro like 0.01%. He'll make a nice like $5 million for himself. That's a nice paycheck for assistant director. Okay, so I'll pay you $1.65 million. You get your $400,000 signing bonus, Guillermo del Toro. That's a good paycheck for Guillermo del Toro. And you get your what? You get your $1 million yearly salary, and your $1 million salary, you get your $250,000 bonus, and I'll pay you 0.01% of the pie, which is a good like $7 million in $7 million for yourself. It's a nice paycheck for him. He makes a nice, a couple $million, $3 million he makes for himself. It's a good paycheck for Guillermo del Toro. That's good. All right, that's a good deal. Yeah, I'll give you a piece of the profits. You're not gonna make the kind of money Peter Jackson's making, but I'll give you 0.01%. You can take home a good like couple million for yourself. And then my secretaries, I'll give them 0.01% too. They can take home a couple million for themselves. My secretaries, obviously. And the other three, I'll give them 0.02%. Give them a bit more. They take home like 4 or 5 million for themselves, which is nice. Nice deal for your 17. That way you keep them happy, man. Considering you and your wife are gonna make like me and VJ are gonna make $4.5 billion off Zanus. Okay, this is my deal. Me and VJ take the 60%, and we'll take 1% of our money, and it's divided with everyone who's getting a piece of the pie. I can give Hans Zimmer too. I can give Hans Zimmer a piece of the pie too. I can give Hans Zimmer a good like 0.02% or something like that. Considering he's big and he composed your movie, you can give him 0.02% Hans Zimmer of the pie. I can do that for Hans Zimmer. Pay Hans Zimmer a nice like $2.7 million, $2.8 million, and you give him a nice like 0.02%. He takes home a couple million for himself. Considering he's a big composer, he composed your soundtrack. Obviously. And don't forget, Jon Favreau and all of them also get their $250,000 royalty check for all the releases. I'm spoiling the shit out of them. All my members of my 17 get their royalty check. The actors all get their royalty checks. You see what I'm saying? Peter Jackson also gets his $2 million for the releases. That's why my company blows Hollywood out of the water, man. Now that I'm giving the actors a piece of royalties, my company now easily competes with Hollywood. It blows Hollywood out of the water. Because the royalties the actors are making for my movies is much more than how much they make in Hollywood. Because my movies are going to gross way more money than Hollywood. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So for the Hidden Vat movie, if I hire Will Smith, I can give Will Smith a good like 0.5% of the profits. Obviously. 0.4% I can give Will Smith. You gotta watch out. I can pay Will Smith his $32 million salary to keep him happy, obviously. You can pay him his $20.9 million signing bonus. Obviously. It's a good deal for Will Smith. And you pay him his $10 million bonus after filming is complete, obviously. And you give him a nice 0.4% of the pie. 0.4% of the pie around there. 0.4 is good for Will Smith. Because you got to create room to pay your other bigger A-listers too, obviously. And Natalie Portman and Mark Wahlberg can pay them 0.1% of the pie. Pay Mark Wahlberg 0.1. And you can pay, or 0.2. But you got to watch out for the budget, obviously. Because I'm only dividing 1% with everyone else. I can pay Will Smith 0.4% or 0.3. You got to watch out. You got to be careful. 0.4% is good for Will Smith. That's like what? It's like $60 million, $65 million for Will Smith around there. $70 million. That's good for him in royalties. And you can give Natalie Portman 0.1%, and you can give Mark Wahlberg 0.1, and then you give John and Dave their 0.2 and 0.1. Obviously, there's a high chance Chris Hemsworth will not be in that movie, but if he is, I'll give him a piece of the profits too. Obviously, I'll give him a nice piece of the profits. Obviously, and I'll give my 7 team their piece of the profits. Obviously, 0.01%, 0.02 for the secretaries and the 3. Obviously, the director, I will give him a nice like 0.02%. All the directors from my movies, I'll give them a piece of the profits. 0.02% I'll give them around there. The only reason why I'm giving Peter 0.6 is because Peter Jackson's big. He's worth like $1 billion. He's really big. He created the billionaire Emperor Lord of the Rings. He's big, man. That's why I'm giving him a nice 0.6% of the pie, which is like $100 million. But the other directors, I give them like 0.01%. They make a couple $1 million for themselves. It's a nice paycheck for them. And I can give the small A-listers a piece of the profits too. I'll give Idris Elba, Don Cheadle, you know what I'm saying, Andy Serkis to keep them happy. So Andy Serkis, Idris Elba, and all of them are going to be making more money than John Boyega and all them, because I'm going to give them a piece of the profits. Considering this, the small A-listers for my movies, I can give them a piece of the profits, but I'll give them a small piece, like 0.01%. Which is like 4 or 5, a couple $1 million in their bank. It's a nice paycheck. It's $3 million, $2 million, $4 million in their bank. So I can pay Idris Elba his 12.5, give him 0.01%. I can give Andy Serkis 0.01%. I can give Idris Elba even 0.02. I can give Andy Serkis 0.02, and I can give Don Cheadle and Diji Mohan Su 0.02. And the actor for Queen Sarah, I'll give her 0.02%. They take home a couple $1 million for themselves. So they make the rich salary and they take home like an extra like $3-4 million for themselves. You see what I'm saying? $3-4-5 million they take home for them. I don't know, $3 million, $2 million they take home. Nice paycheck, obviously. And you give them a $2,000 royalty check. Whereas guys like John Boyega and Yvonne Jode do not get a piece of the royalties. Because they're not A-list actors. If you're not an A-list actor, you do not get a piece of the royalties. That's the rule. I'm going to tell Jon Favreau, okay, the rule is, okay, this is the rule, John. Me and VJ take our 60%, and the 1% is divided with everyone, with all the actors, 7 team, yourselves. That's why you have to be careful. So, okay, the small A actors, you can give them a piece of the profits, but don't give them like 0.01%. No, give them like 0.01. You know what I'm saying? Give them like 0.0 something, 0.01, 0.02, 0.03. That's only like a couple $1 million. $2 million, $3 million, $4 million. It's not $2 million around there. You can give them like an extra $1 million, $2 million of the pie, the small A actors, to keep them happy. Obviously, but the small A actors still don't get bonuses over their salary. They get their flat salary, that's it, but I'm willing to give them a piece of the pie, but they get like 0.01, 0.02, which is like $1.5 million, $2 million. It's a good paycheck for a small A actor, obviously. Whereas the bigger ones are the ones who get the dough. You can give them the 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. It depends how big the guy is. Will Smith, I'll give him like 0.4%, 0.5 around there. Obviously, you can give him 0.4 to 0.5% of the pie, which is a nice paycheck. That's a nice like $80 million in royalties. You know, accept my lie, and it's a deal. That's why all the Hollywood agents and celebrities are going to want to work for me so bad now. Because my company pays the actors way more than Hollywood. You know, Ivan's company blows hot out of the water, man. He gives the actors a piece of the pie. And because Ivan's movies grow so much, you know, so we're all gonna strike it rich, man. We're gonna make a lot of money, yeah, man. Even the small A-listers, I'm giving them a piece of the pie. They're gonna make an extra like $2 million for themselves. 0.0102% is like an extra 1.5, $2 million you make for yourself. It's a nice paycheck. That's a nice piece of money. They don't make the kind of money the bigger ones make, but they're still making some good money. The what? The small ASers. I'm gonna tell. Okay, for the small ASers, do not go any higher than 0.05%. That's big enough. That's big enough. 0.05% is more than enough. That's like about like 3 million, 2.8 million bucks. Do not go any higher than 0.05% for the small ASers for the royalties. Obviously, whereas the bigger ones do not go any lower than 0.1%, and do not go any higher than 0.5% for the bigger AS actors. Never give one actor 1%. No, you need to create room to pay. If you want to create room to pay John his 0.2% and pay Dave his 0.1%, you have to create room. If you want to create room to pay your directors, the members of your 17, their 0.02%, 0.01%, you need to what? You need to watch out for your cap, obviously. So that's the deal. Okay, this is my deal on Amazon. We take 61%, you take 39%. That's my final offer. I'm not going to go any lower. I'm not going to go higher than that. I'm not going to be greedy and be like, do 70-30. No, I'm not going to do you like that. I'm a man of my word. I take 61%, you take 39%. Me and VJ take our 60% of the pie. Don't hate us, I'm saying. And the 1% is divided with Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, the Russo brothers, and you know what I'm saying, and Michael Bay and all them, and what, and whoever I choose, obviously. The 1% is divided with what? My co-executive producers, my 7 team, and the actors, and all the directors and all them. See what I'm saying? I told you, my secretaries and all them, I only give them like 0.1%. They're gonna make an extra, I don't know, $700,000 for themselves around there. 0.01% is like, I don't know, 700,000. The secretaries will make. That's a good deal for them. And then the other guys make like $1 million, like 3 or something like that. From 0.02% is like $1 million around there, $1.2 million maybe. You got that's a good deal for the other 5. I'm not going hard enough, and that's good enough. I'm generous enough to give you an extra 700,000 and $1 million. That's a good deal for the 5. Whereas Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni get a nice piece of the pie. They get their nice 0.2, 0.1%, which is nice. Hence why I'm easily going to be able to grab John from Hollywood. As Hollywood cannot compete with it. Yeah. Now with the royalties, Hollywood cannot compete with my company. They can't compete with my company. Because I'm paying these actors a lot of money, more than what Hollywood pays on average, and I'm giving them a piece of the pie, man. 0.1, 0.2% of the pie, you see what I'm saying? These actors are making a lot of money. That's why all the actors are going to want to work for me, because they're what? They know they're going to make a lot of money for my movies. Yeah, man. Show my camera here.